So, yeah, thank you, gentlemen. Great stories. Any questions from the audience? Now you get the chance. They are all here. No one? Okay. So then maybe I can ask you a question. I will ask you actually a question, Mike, because you have been kind of involved somehow in the process. So, what is the biggest challenge you have seen during all these projects where you have been involved in?
Well, like we heard in the story from the Binckbank, it's for most organizations difficult to convince management whether to do the project yes or no. So that's why we also developed an approach where you have with 3 short milestones get insight in how long it will take and how difficult it will be to do the migration. And coupled to that, you can add money to it, and so you can see whether you have a business case, yes or no. Mm-hmm. And of course, the other thing is, but that's mentioned already several times nowadays, to move the data and the database, and the data in the database is fairly easy. It's all about your application migration, what takes the time and gives you the difficulties. So that's the biggest challenge, I think.
Great. And then final question for you again. So what is the most, let's say, weird migration you ever have had?
Weirdest migration?
Your experience.
Okay. How much time do we have left?
Keep it short.
Well, we had a customer, and he wanted to migrate to Postgres, and basically what he did, he moved from, he bought new hardware. He moved from Windows to Linux. He redesigned his database and rewritten his application. So it was a kind of typical migration we had there. But he was fortunate that he could start with an empty database again. So he brought his application into production, and he thought, okay, my old database on the old system and the old data, first we're going to be in production with the new system for 3 months. We get out all the bugs, and then we start thinking about migrating this old data to this new database. And well, as time goes by, he switched off his old machine, and it was really old hardware. And after a half year, he said, okay, maybe it's time now to migrate this old data. And he was afraid to start up this old hardware again. So he said, this old hardware may only be started when we do the live migration. So we had to write a migration and make sure that there was a little documentation there. So there was always questions about, well, what we really find in this database, is this the same as what we find in the documentation? But okay, we made a design to, let's say, migrate all the data with all the rules. And I wrote all those rules in Excel. And it was a really intensive project. And I don't know, I worked for weeks in Excel, and maybe it's recognizable that if you're really intensive working with a tool all the time, you maybe take it home and start dreaming about it. And I had the same thing with Excel. I can remember I was lying in bed on the right side, and I want to turn over to the left, but I couldn't because right alignment was switched on. So, so it was really intense. But finally, we got all the rules written down. We got the migration document signed off, and we were starting the migration. So we switched on this old production machine, and then we started to smell a funny smell, and the production machine went up in flames, actually. Great. So that was the weirdest migration I ever had.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
I have one. Thank you. Niels, this question's for you. You know, and I know that you're thinking about, or you're working on migrations to public cloud environments. And so I guess the first question is, so what's your ambition, and what are you setting as milestones? How much of the bank's IT operations do you see moving into public cloud, and on what kind of time scale?
So we did an investigation of about approximately 600 of our applications that we have within the bank. And to be fair, we excluded our core mainframe application from this list. So that's a separate system altogether. So out of all the other environments, there's 600 plus applications. We identified 400 of those that could move in either 3 or 5 years to public cloud. So it's a very large number out of the 600 that we will be doing. And we will be targeting roughly a half of those 600, 280 applications to go within within 3 years. It's a very aggressive move we are planning. To make that possible, we used to have separate projects running for private cloud. So we had a team looking in implementing OpenShift, containerization. We had another team that already had implemented Ranger and were managing that. And then we have just started OpenStack as an alternative to the conversion environment. The senior management decided that we were losing focus and we needed to pull the resources to make this big jump. So the urgency is such that we've canceled all these internal private cloud projects and moved all the resources into the public cloud team. And that should help us make this big jump forward.
Yeah, so my second question relates really to the infrastructure changes you have to make, in particularly database. So if you've got one model for internal IT and on-premises IT, what changes, particularly with databases, when you move to the public cloud?
So the big change we want to achieve is, I think I'll put in the slide, we really want to push for the platform as a service. So the team that I will be running to do this cloud migration is going to be very limited on the platform side. We do not anticipate putting DBAs in there. We really want to push to the DevOps. So the cloud proposition for us is also this end-to-end responsibility that we want to introduce. And we need the database to be able to support that. So we want to have that service built in. And that's what we will be targeting.
Right. So last question is, so then what do you need from vendors like EDB to help you do that successfully?
I think there we need to find the good working relationship in helping us move the workloads. And I think the key thing is something that you did in the keynote yesterday. For us, we want to have Postgres for our customers identical in all the different propositions we have. So that's something we really want to work with you together, where we say, okay, if you get a Postgres database, whether it's in Azure, in Amazon, or on maybe our conversion environment, from the application, from the DevOps teams, it's all identical.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Rutten of Isabel, and I work for EDB. My question is that when you are migrating your applications from Oracle to Postgres or EDB Postgres, what do you like most? I mean, is it ease of use, or is it support? And what do you miss the most when you move from Oracle to Postgres?
One of my colleagues answer that question.
Can you repeat the question, Farshad?
So the question was, when you use our tools to move from Oracle to Postgres, what do you like the most, and what are you lacking in the tools that we provide to you? Who was that question?
Yeah, my name is Ahsan Hadi. I work for Enterprise DBA.
Yeah. So, Benny, maybe you can answer that question.
It's not a difficult question, actually. The great thing, if you want to move from Oracle to Postgres, is a migration toolkit, which really works nice on the database level. I'm not talking on application level. Luckily, Postgres is, for us, in our experience, very compatible with Oracle, and we encounter very few problems. What we miss after the migration is a Oracle-grade backup and recovery tool. So the Oracle Recovery Manager is still way ahead of EDB BART. That's what we miss. And also, we miss, if we do a point-in-time recovery, we miss the flashback database. So it would be nice to have the ability to move the database back in time. That's one of the major things that I would add to Postgres.
Interestingly, I run the team that manages the backup and recovery to Enterprise DB. So I think we can have a discussion after this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks. Maybe this is a question for either Benny or Frans. Once it's a question about enterprise DB failover manager. Once you have set up your master and standby and you test your standby, is it easy to come back to your master or do you need to reconfigure your replication?
Well, it's pretty easy to come back because the old master is still there. And the differences between the old master and the new master are very small. They increase over time, but initially, if you have a new master, the old master is dead. And in order to bring him up to the same level as the new master, you only have to copy over the blocks that have changed. And we have a script for that, which we developed in cooperation with Mike here. So on the new master side, we launch a script that copies only the blocks that have been changed to the old master. And once that is done, it becomes the new slave and it starts up, or the new standby, and it starts up. And it's pretty straightforward and it takes only minutes to do it.
So this is your own script, it's not part of the EFM product, is it?
No, EFM doesn't provide that at this moment.
Okay, maybe EFM people can take note of that.
Thank you. Any other questions? Nope. Okay. Oh. The mic is coming. One second. Yeah.
Hi, my name is John. I'm from Dell. My question is, when you move large-scale Oracle database to Postgres, do you have any scalability challenge? So from Xdata, large number of cores, Oracle rack, to a single machine, do you have any change in scale? How do you address the scalability?
Okay, I think I can answer that one. So what you see is on the Exadata for us is really a consolidated platform. So a lot of the databases actually on there are quite small. So they're quite easy to transport or migrate to Postgres. So we don't have we haven't targeted the largest systems yet. Also because those are predominantly ISV applications, and then we need to talk to the vendors. Are they going to be supporting if we migrate those? So a lot of the databases, what we are targeting at the moment, are going to be in-house built or from vendors that have already supported Postgres. So they will help us with the migrations. It is something from the self-service model, is that we are going to try to have the heavy lifting done mostly by the DevOps teams and not so much by the infra team. But of course, if they run into problems or issues, then we will be there to support them. It's not a big bang. We are not going to, it's the 30 applications, those are ones that are on our radar, and we will just pick them off one by one. But we are not doing, which maybe goes against Infosys this morning, and really do it on a factory or industrialized way. We want to get more confidence first.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? No? Okay. Well, thank you very much for your presentation, guys.
Great, thank you. Great, thanks. Thank you, guys.